Hey, welcome back to the Anxious Love Coach channel. My name is Natalie and I'm a relationship anxiety coach as well as a meditation teacher that specializes in the mindfulness of relationships. I want to talk today about the fear of cheating and what to do about it. If you have a fear of cheating, you're probably intimately aware of two things. The capacity for human attraction to completely sweep you off your feet and derail you emotionally. And you're probably simultaneously aware of the intense pain that is caused by cheating, both as the regret of the person that did the cheating and also the agonizing heartbreak of the person on the receiving end. So if we're going to talk about what to do, fundamentally, this is an issue around self-trust. It's also an issue around over-assessing how bad something is going to be if it happens, and also under-assessing our tolerance for discomfort. So the thing I want you to examine is, what have you learned around cheating? And this is an uncomfortable conversation, and a lot of people might not agree with this, but I think it was Esther Perel that said this, that cheating is something that is universally considered unacceptable, and yet it is something that is simultaneously universally practiced. And I think that tells us something about human nature. And I'm not going to do a whole entire video on this because talking about the complexities of cheating and attraction and desire versus love, which have nothing to do with each other, by the way. Desire versus love are two totally different things. That would take me a really long time. So a couple points I want to make. If you are afraid of cheating, I want you to ask yourself two questions. How would I feel if I cheated? And literally write these down. If I cheated, I might feel remorse. I might feel disgusted with myself. I might feel angry with myself. I might feel disappointed by what things happened. That's if you did cheat. Now, ask yourself, how would I feel if I didn't cheat? You might feel the agonizing grief of a life path you didn't choose. You might feel disappointed with the state of your relationship, especially if things are kind of difficult right now. You might feel regret, disappointment, anger. Some of the same emotions that you would feel from cheating, you might feel from not cheating. And really what we're dealing with is emotions here. And if you witnessed cheating in your life, either from a family member or a friend, you might already have some emotions around that, and you might not have any more space to feel more of those emotions, which is why you're trying so hard to determine exactly how your future is going to go so that you never ever have to feel that way. Maybe you are really harshly judging someone for cheating, and so you are trying to convince yourself, I would never do that. When in reality, because I said universally is universally judged and considered terrible, and yet it is universally practiced, which tells us that it's a very human thing. And I don't believe that, the world is separated into cheaters and non-cheaters, or that once a cheater, always a cheater. Sometimes that's true, sometimes it's not. Life is not so black and white where cheaters just get universally put into categories and people who don't cheat are universally good. I think it's a lot more complicated than that, and the conversation around cheating really needs to be a lot more nuanced and have a little bit of compassion around the conversation of attraction. And we need to understand that attraction has less to do with the rightness of a person, questioning this idea that if you're in a long-term relationship, you'll never feel attracted to someone else. I think that's bullshit. And having a little bit of compassion around the complex human experience. So if you can start to get a little bit curious about what you've learned around cheating, what emotions do you still carry around cheating, especially if you've witnessed it? Are you angry with them? Are you disgusted with them? Those things need to be processed and addressed. And the second piece would be, how would I feel if I did that? How would I feel towards myself? Is there any part of me that already feels that way towards myself? That stuff needs to be addressed. And then starting to recognize that there is a vast space between having a thought, feeling a feeling, and actually taking action on the feeling or taking action to avoid a feeling. And I want you to witness, if you're able to do that regularly, have a thought, have a feeling, notice the impulse to act on it, and be able to observe the impulse without necessarily acting on it. If you are able to witness yourself doing that regularly, you will start to trust yourself a lot more easily. Where we lose self-trust is where we have an impulse and we have no space between a thought and an impulse, or a thought and a feeling and an impulse, and we consistently are reactive. Of course, you're going to lack self-trust. So I highly recommend meditation practices that are about observing the thoughts, observing the emotions, being with the emotions that are here without necessarily taking action. And I believe that that will help you trust yourself a lot more. So I hope that that's been helpful. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and share. We're also on Facebook. We've got the Anxious Love Coach Collective. We've got a podcast, the Anxious Love Coach Podcast. Check me out on Instagram and TikTok. Thanks so much, and see you in the next video.